What's good, YouTube world? Killua Morales is back at it again with another top 10 list, and today I'm giving you guys my picks on what I think are the top 10 best anime of 2021. Now, before I go into my list, I do have a few conditions. One, I'm not adding any continuations or sequels, so don't expect anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Baki Hanma, and sadly don't expect Nomad Megalobox. But most importantly, don't expect Attack on Titan. I mean, even if I made an exception, I still wouldn't add Attack on Titan to my list. And second, I'm not adding any movies, so don't expect Evangelion to be on this list. Now, even though I have a few conditions, it doesn't change the fact that I have seen a shit ton of anime. So I do have a few honorable mentions that just didn't make the cut. And those anime are Yasuke, The Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter, Sunny Boy, Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, and Redo the Healer. Now that that's done, let's hop into the list. Number 10. Remake Our Life. Okay, time travel can be hit or miss depending on how it's used, and there have been a lot of anime that have utilized time travel, but most of them have failed to leave an impression, with the exception of Steins Gate and Erased. Thankfully, this anime managed to pull it off, and it didn't overshadow the main story. It follows Kyoya Hashiba struggling to find a decent job after his dream to work on an Ultimate game blew up in his face. On the verge of giving up, he falls asleep only to wake up 10 years in the past where he was in college majoring in art. Now, people have constantly compared this to Real Life, which is understandable since there are multiple similarities between the two. But thankfully, this is better than Real Life. Characters are relatable, sympathetic, and flawed. They have goals, struggles, and desires. To put it simply, they're human. Not only do you see each character struggle, but you also see how a video game is made from the design of the characters to the voice acting and the soundtrack. This is an anime that knows how to hit you in the feels, while at the same time encourage you, despite the fact that the conclusion could have easily killed the anime. But thankfully, it was enough to end it on a decent note. Number 9. To Your Eternity. Now, I know what you're thinking. How the hell is this not even in the top 5? Well, the answer is simple. It's overhyped, and there hasn't been one moment where I've seen at least one person call this anime a masterpiece. But let's be upfront. It's not a masterpiece at all. I'm looking at you, Watch Mojo, but that doesn't make it a bad anime, hence why it's on my list. Just from the first episode, you know exactly what to expect from this anime, as it's beautifully animated and properly paced. You follow an immortal being as he goes on a journey learning about the beautiful yet harsh reality of human life. The premise itself is very unique as it explores not only its world, but also the people that live in it as well. The storytelling and character development makes you question your life and morals to the point that it makes you question what it means to be human. It does get a little repetitive as you know what to expect as the story progresses, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. This is a beautiful tale of tragedy that will make you laugh and cry, but mostly cry. Number 8. Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Okay, given how popular this genre has become, it's only natural to put an isekai on this list, so why not start with the granddaddy of isekai? Now, some of you are wondering why this isn't higher on the list, given the huge amount of praise it's getting. Unfortunately, this is another anime where the hype can do more harm than it can good, but it's still an amazing anime to watch. When you get past the hype and the controversy that is the main character's past life, you see a well-told story and well-drawn anime with a lot of heart. It starts off like a typical isekai, but what happens afterwards is what makes it stand out from the others. Instead of throwing the main character into an adventure, it focuses on the world building and character development before the adventure even begins. And just when you think it will, you're hit with a plot twist that throws the formula right out the window. If you thought Re:Zero got dark, just watch this and you'll understand that Re:Zero is a cakewalk compared to this. Each character has a moment to shine, from the main cast to the supporting cast. It's not the best isekai this year, but it more than delivered on keeping you hooked from start to finish. Number 7. Skate the Infinity. Now, to tell you the truth, I'm not much of a fan of sports anime, but I'll watch one every now and then. In fact, my personal favorites are Prince of Tennis, Yao Mushi Pedal, Haikyuu, and Kuroko's Basketball. Well, I'm glad I watched this anime. Being a huge fan of the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games, the first 2 to be exact, I found myself invested in the series. Now, this is not realistic in the least bit, as it's about an underground skateboarding race where it's perfectly fine to go Street Fighter on your opponent with no repercussion, and where you see skaters pull off moves that defies the laws of physics. This is over-the-top nonsense, and despite it all, it reminds you that these characters have lives outside this world, and you see this with the character development of not only the two main characters, but most of the cast, including the villain. It's a sports anime with mind-blowing action scenes and authentic relationships between the characters. And let's face it, the villain steals the show every time, especially since he's basically Dio Brando riding a skateboard. Number 6. The Duke of Death and his Maid. And now we come to not only one of the best rom-com of 2021, but the best CGI anime of 2021. You follow a young duke who is cursed by a witch to kill anything that he touches, and that's about it. But as the saying goes, it's not the end result that matters, it's the journey. And man, what a journey it was. There was never a boring moment, because not only did this anime make you laugh, but it made you cry at moments as well. Every single character was lovable. Well, besides maybe one character, and the story is original enough that you won't get bored, and the main relationship between the titular characters is just plain adorable. Most of the time it's just the latter teasing the former, from small teasing to just downright sexual harassment, but it shows their character dynamic as the story progresses. And of course, I'm in the minority when I say that the animation was beautiful. Besides the CGI, the background looks like a painting from the Renaissance, and each character design was different. This is a must watch, and I'm looking forward to the next season's release. Number 5. Comey Can't Communicate. Now, slice of life anime, especially ones that take place in a school setting, usually focuses on relationship building or coming of age. And Comey Can't Communicate is no exception to this, but the main difference is that it makes you laugh with the variety of characters it possesses. Of course, the standouts were the two main leads, in the form of the school's goddess Shoko Comey, with a serious case of social anxiety, and the normal Izumi Tadano, who's desperate to fit in with others. From the first episode, you see how serious Comey's condition is just from her over-the-top reaction to communicating with Tadano. As the story progresses, you meet other characters with varying personalities that makes the story all the more entertaining, because each character has a quirk about them that makes them stand out. Also, I have to bring out how beautiful this anime is, so it surprises me that Studio Ohm is behind this. For those who don't know, Ohm is known for their work on one of the most popular anime of all time, Pokemon, so think about that. This is a slice of life anime that deserves the ongoing second season, because you can't get enough of how thought-provoking it can be while at the same time making you laugh. Number 4. How a Realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. Now, I know I'm going to piss off a lot of fans when I say this, but this is the best isekai of 2021. Instead of following the formula that practically every other isekai follows, it takes that formula and flips it on its head by giving you a main character that isn't as powerful as the next, but more than makes up for it with his knowledge. This is what happens when Niccolo Machiavelli, not that Machiavelli, becomes the ruler of a damn near primitive kingdom and helps it not only out of his financial slump, but also out of the grasp of corruption. This anime shares a lot of similarities with Log Horizon, as it focuses on the world building and politics. Kazuya Soma is not an overpowered protagonist in the least bit, but he shows that physical prowess is not all important, as he's essentially forced to rule a kingdom. The rest of the characters have their time to shine as well, from the main heroine Licia, who has some of the most romantic moments with Kazuya, to the gung-ho, battle-hungry dark elf Aisha, with an appetite bigger than Shaggy and Scooby-Doo combined. But let's face it, we all know that Yuna is best girl. This is an isekai done right, and the recently finished second season keeps the adrenaline going with how the story progresses. We need another season. Number 3. Banished from the hero's party, I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. Okay, clickbait name aside, this is an underrated anime that needs more attention than it already has. Just when you thought you're gonna watch your run-of-the-mill journey to defeat a big boss, you're thrown a curveball following Gideon, who changes his name to Red, not that Red, being kicked out by a self-centered asshole who thinks he's useless when it comes to battle, which is ironic given that this guy can't do shit in battle. The story is slow to progress, but in all honesty, that's what makes it worthwhile. It's an original story with lovable characters and breathtaking animation. And of course, I can't talk about this anime without bringing up the love story between the two main characters. The chemistry between them is stronger than what you see in a lot of anime, and you can't help but root for their relationship to grow even further. And of course, the side characters have their time to shine, as you see that they have goals and desires, especially one aforementioned asshole. Also, as I stated before, the animation is so breathtaking despite it being simplistic at times. You can tell that the two studios, as this is a co-production, put time and effort into making this as amazing as they could. Take notes, High Guardian Spice. This is an anime that needs to be seen, especially out of all the copy pasta light novel adaptations we've seen over the years. Number 2. Odd Taxi. Now, it was very hard to decide between this and my number one choice on what would be the top anime of 2021, but I'll go into detail about my number one after I talk about this anime. Now, if you're a fan of movies like Zootopia or a series like Beastars, then this is the show for you. This anime follows the anthropomorphic walrus named Hiroshi Otokawa as he lives his life driving his taxi, only to get wrapped up in not only crimes but conspiracies as well. Now, this anime is very heavy on the dialogue, as each episode goes through the point of view of different characters. From a toy poodle working incredibly hard to become a top idol, to a puma becoming roped into a gacha game, and even a teenage hippo trying to be an internet sensation. Each story all indirectly connects back to the main story of Otokawa being roped into the criminal world, forced against his will. There's always a character you're bound to love, like my personal favorite being the waifu material llama that can kick your ass with her capoeira. The conversations between the characters pass by so quickly that you lose track of time, making the mystery of Otokawa all the more alluring as you want to know what's truly going on in his head. This is a crime drama that never fails to deliver on keeping you invested in not only the conflicts with the characters, but also the revelations of each of the stories, ending with an amazing plot twist that even I didn't see coming. If you love stories about mentality and morality, this is the show for you. Number 1. 86. Now, if I had to say what anime would be considered a masterpiece, this is the one. This character-driven story that tackles the harsh reality of war really knew how to deliver with its storytelling and character development. A1 Pictures, who's known for Sword Art Online and Blue Exorcist, did an amazing job humanizing the characters, creating a very strong connection between them. There are times where it feels like the story has slowed down to a snail's pace, but there was always a nice payoff in the long run. Despite the fact that the harsh reality of war is very prominent, at its core, this is a story about racism. A1 Pictures really delivered on showing how easy it is to hop on the bandwagon that is hatred. All you see is a group of silver-haired and silver-eyed people called Alba living in a false utopia as they sacrifice a group of young boys and girls that they dub 86s by making them fight their war, ensuring that they themselves don't die. Sounds like a lot to take in at once, right? Well, worry not, as A1 Pictures took their time to flesh out not only the story through its world building, but also the characters, as you see the psychological trauma that the kids and the main heroine Lena go through. It did not fail at one point to deliver home the effect that war has on young children, especially when they're forced to sacrifice their lives for a group of racists that will never shed a single tear if they died. You get both sides of the spectrum, as you see the Alba side through Lena's interactions with not only her squad, but also her peers, and the 86's side through the male lead Shin's interactions with his comrades as they struggle to survive. The second season especially delivers when you see how the 86's not only cope with their freedom, but also their choice on what to do with their life. From the beautiful and heartbreaking story to the breathtaking heart and animation, 86 is an anime that will leave you with more questions about life than expected. Hence why I consider it the number one best anime of 2021. Well, that's it for this video. Do you agree with my list? What was your favorite anime of 2021? Comment below to give me your thoughts. Also, be prepared because not only will I be working on reviews and top 10 lists, but I plan to do a little bit of live streaming once I set a schedule. So until then, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, just like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to tap the bell icon so you're never missing out on a future video. But until then, thanks for watching. I'm leaving in Godspeed. Peace.